Hello, how are you doing and what's going on? As usual, I hope these videos are relatable, and if you have anything you want to say, or maybe you can give tips out or anything. um, I would gladly like to hear in the comments, or feel free to speak in to me in my DMs or something. I don't know. My socials below, so you don't have to follow, but you can always say something. Um, I guess lately. I've always been lately thinking about my relationship, but I realize I always talk about it in parts, but I never really talk about only that, or and not specifically my relationship, but being in a relationship. Um, I think I'm at a point where I realize that I miss I miss that, and I don't know if it's because I only miss her or I miss my partner, but I don't know if it's because I miss being able to do that only. We're like friends, but I feel like it comes out a lot in me where, or well, not actually a lie. That's a lie. It's here and there, but we could have I think recently we had like a really good talk, and it was funny, and we didn't really, it wasn't any thing bad, and I just, it was very engaging, I guess I'll say that. But oh man, I really felt sad out there, um, because I don't know, I felt like I missing something. I always, I mean, every day kind of feels like that, where I feel like something should be here, something should be happening, I should be doing something. When really I did everything I can do personally for myself, but you know, there's someone else that's missing, you know. And I also have that, and that's not only there for just because of my partner, but because I do miss my mom. I miss her presence, and being able to talk to her, and just having her around. I think that my mom, you know, she was important to me. So I do have a lot of days where I feel like that's missing as well, but I do really feel like that I want to be in a relationship, and I want to move on, and but I have a lot of moments where I say I miss this, and then I have moments where I say I miss her, and I don't know as a person if I'm ready to move on. Um, and I also don't know if as a person I'm ready to continue to interact with them, my partner or my ex. Not necessarily because of ill feelings or anything like that, but because I still have those moments where I do miss her, and I do wish they were around. Um, but then I have moments where I go and I say I miss telling somebody I love them. Uh, I miss having somebody in my bed next to me. I miss being able to tell somebody good morning and sleep well and be safe and stuff like that. In the sense of like, you know, in the context of a relationship. I miss, holding hands and going on dates. But, because it's, it's a different feeling, where you hang out with your friends and, you can do some of those things together where you're like, hey man, let's hang out, let's go somewhere and let's play the game, or let's or good morning bro or something like that. I don't know. I don't really think guys tell each other good morning and stuff like that, or anybody really does, except for family. But even then it's like, you could do all that, but it's just different, it's a different feeling to have somebody like that. And I'm like struggling a lot of my days to figure out how to get past that feeling, how to get over the idea of like missing something, without needing something else to fill that. I want to be able to process this, and I want to be able to jump in my relationship or the next one, not because I needed that to replace the emptiness, but because I wanted to move on, and I was ready as a person to do that. I don't really like, because I don't want a lot of those problems to come out that I had in my previous one. I don't want to repeat similar mistakes. I don't feel like I will, and I don't hope to or plan to, but you never know how you may act, and you never know how that person may make you feel. And so, I can go in my next one and I'm 20 times worse. And so that's like, I guess, I don't know, it's just a fear and something I don't want to do. And I want to be able to get over that and then jump into things. But I also struggle to distinguish whether I, am I really over my partner? Or I guess not over them, because I know I'm not over my partner. I know I wasn't over them, my ex. I don't feel like I don't still love them. I don't feel like I miss them, like, because I do feel that. I do feel like that. I do have those. I have those moments where I do wish, and I do have hope, and I do tell myself like, oh, I wish I could have fixed things, or I wish things could have been better. I know they weren't bad, but they weren't really good in a sense of, I felt good and she felt good all the time. It was hard to like stay there without being afraid of something going bad. Like I was kind of saying before I kind of went off on a tangent, but like I really think I really am conflicted on how I should be. Whereas, like, maybe I should stay away so that I can properly move on. And maybe it's best that I don't try to rebuild this as like a friendship, because maybe I don't really want a friendship. Maybe I'm only doing this because I have hopes of getting together. And I don't know, like, I don't know. I don't really have that desire, or I have, like, I want to be together and I wish we could, but I know that I have to accept that I can't really expect that or try to be friends for that. I really think to myself, like, I really wanted to I still want to be friends. I really want them in my life as someone there. But I think that's the problem. I can't figure out what I want from them by being there. Do I really want them as a friend, or do I not? I have so much, like, I guess, emotional weight towards this person. And and you go through a relationship, and then sometimes it's like, okay, well, if the family hates you, this and happens, and you had, like, really bad fights where you hate each other and you can't talk. But it wasn't like that, I guess, for me. I was liked by her parent. I was, supported, and her family supported her relationship. I guess I was viewed positively there. And then, in terms of, like, us splitting, it really wasn't because I hated you or I didn't love you anymore. It was more like, I'm afraid things won't be better. Or I'm afraid of not being okay, and I won't be okay. And also, where I would keep saying stuff, or I would keep lashing out, or being, like, emotional. Not lashing out, but cause I feel like when I say that, I sound like angrier than I am, but I'm really just emotional. I get sad about something, and then I say something negative where I'm like, I'm not loved. Even though I very much clearly am. But my brain doesn't want to see that. It doesn't want to be able to, like, it doesn't want to believe that things can be okay. And that where I'm at is okay. And that's something, like, I'm afraid of when I go into a new relationship, and I try to figure that out, and then I end up repeating that. That's what I mean. Like, this kind of, like, I don't know. It's, like, hard for me to really figure this out. I really want to, and I really want to move on. I really want to just find somebody else and then just be happy. But I really can't. I can't let go of my feelings. And I don't mean only my feelings towards my partner, but my feelings about myself sometimes. And I'm afraid of being I'm afraid of being like a problem or I'm afraid of not being accepted the same way that I was with her in her setting. I don't know, like uh, I'm kind of just scared to date again. Maybe and I'm like maybe scared of getting hurt again. Um, I really want to, and I really, and I make efforts to talk to people, and I'm, and I have like set up a date or with somebody, but then I don't follow through now. Where, you know, this weekend, I guess, for example, not example, but what is supposed to happen is I'm supposed to go on a date, or at least, hang out with somebody, uh, in that kind of like setting where we go to dinner and then, maybe we do something after, but I, I can't really, a lot of me doesn't really want to go and do that. Not because I hate this person, but because I don't know how to get past this feeling. Um, and I want to try though. I want to still be there, and I still want to interact with this person, and I still want to do this and that, but I don't want to. I don't want to like keep somebody there when they have the intentions for something and I don't. I think that's very wrong of me to do to somebody. And I don't know, like I don't know. I feel like I'm doing a lot of the right things. I'm really like reassuring myself, being positive, trying to stay active, and you know, and I'm processing my feelings and everything like that, and I'm not trying to let them stop me. And in most cases, they aren't, but I do struggle with that. I do have a lot of days where I feel like I'm missing that. And I have a lot of days where I'm not sure what I'm trying to do from uh, my ex and our current relationship, as friends. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I can do that. Um, as much as I want to, I don't know if I want to do that for the right reason. Um, I like my baseline is like I want them around, but could I tell you why? I don't really know because I don't know why I want them around. I don't know why I fixate on them like that. Um, it's not like obsessive where every day is thinking about them. Every day is like I have to talk to them. Every day is this, that, and you know, I like to talk to them every day and I like to interact with them, but I don't think I have to every day. But it feels like I should be doing that in a way. And I don't know. I don't know where to go in that mindset a lot of times. And so I would have like days like this where I'm really like bummed out. Nothing's really done anything. Nothing's really happened. I'm supposed to be going and doing something today to that is counter to this feeling. And I can't, or I don't want to. I don't want to be alone. Um, but I revert to a way where I make myself be alone, you know. And that's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of goofy. Yes, your brain says that to you, but you still do actions otherwise counter to what you want. And I guess that's where it comes up, and it's like, well, you have to just do what you want, you know? You have to just do it. If what you want is to, if you want to jump back in a relationship with somebody else, then, you know, you should start making efforts for that. If you want to be friends with somebody, then you should try to be friends. Uh, but you should keep your expectations low, and you should try to continue to take things as time goes on. I know that today is better than the first day all that happened. I know that tomorrow can be better than that first day. And so I know I'm getting better. I know that I'm doing better for myself. I know that I'm not becoming stagnant in my life and my decisions. I just, you know, I miss that. And maybe, I don't know, that's where I'm like, you know, how do you feel like that? You know, what do you do there? Do you say anything to yourself and move on? Do you like bottle it up and, you know? Yeah, a lot of people deal with things differently, and they express themselves differently. But you know, no matter what you do, you can't really change other people's feelings. If somebody doesn't want to be your friend, then, you know, they're not going to be your friend. If somebody doesn't want to start dating, you know, they're not going to really start dating. If somebody doesn't want to get back together, they're not going to really do that. And the worst part isn't like going through those things, but building up something to eventually go through that, you know. Making the effort of talking to somebody, and then they're kind of like ignore you, and they're not really interested in talking as friends. Or making the effort, going on dates and paying for dinners and this and that, but you're not really, you know. But then they kind of like say, oh, well, I'm not really ready for this, and I don't really think we're a good match. And then, you know, so then you let yourself feel down about that. And then, you know, the same could be for, you know, trying to get back with somebody you were with. You know, you mend your relationship, but then you have hopes for that. But, you know, I guess in that case, it's really your fault, because, you know, he shouldn't really have gone in there trying to do that from the beginning, because you really set yourself for a crash if things don't go well. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to speak to somebody because I want to get together. I want to be able to speak to them because I care for them. and I want them around as somebody I can have as a friend, or like, like a best friend or something. Because my partner was that for me. Yeah, a lot of things that I didn't do with other people, I did with her. And I did those things before we were dating and before we were together. So I do value that. I do value having that person there like that. And but I acknowledge that I enjoyed having more. I enjoyed being able to be more, and I enjoyed being able to exist in a different space than other people. I know that I miss being in a relationship, and I know that I miss being with my partner. And I don't know where I'll go, with this. I don't know where I'll be at, in time. I am a little impatient in terms of like, I wish I could know, and I wish I could just not care and then be happy about it and just move on. But I don't know. You know, I want things to happen now, and I want things to. I don't know. I just want to be quick about things. I don't really care. I don't really like the effort anymore. But I know that you have to make the effort because nobody's going to just trust somebody else like that. Nobody's going to really love you like that. And then all you do in those situations are just you hurt yourself. And you make things harder for you as a person. And that's something we shouldn't do. We should make life easier. We should be happy. If you're seeking someone, don't commit yourself, I guess. But, be honest about that. Don't say like, oh yeah, I don't want to, I don't really, it's not that I don't like you. I just, I don't know if this is where I want to be yet. I don't know if this is like where you want to be yet. And instead of like putting everything into it, I want to see where things go, and I want to be able to become somebody that is there. I think I didn't really do that with my first relationship. I think we were always there, and we always did things together, and the feelings were there, but we never like really kind of like thought about it. When we got together, it was kind of like just it happened, And I always say that like it was kind of like I never really expected to be in a relationship at that point. I didn't really have the desire or anything like that, but I don't know. When it came to her, I just let that out, and I was like, oh yeah, I felt like that about you or something. And she was kind of like the same, and it was like, okay, well, and I remember she said she didn't really want to do that type of relationship again, but I remember that she said because it was me, she would. And I think that should have been kind of a sign where maybe things would have been and how they would have been. But I think, I think she wanted something else, deep down, and it was kind of hard to be like, live the way we had. And then, we would see each other for a short amount of time, and then most of it is away from each other. And yeah, so I miss being with somebody, and that's really the gist of it, I guess. And I kind of want that again, and so instead of sulking around and being sad about things, I think I will attempt to make that effort to go on that date, and I will enjoy myself, and I won't hold myself down anymore. I just hope that I can also grow and move on. As usual, thank you for watching or listening, really, and have a good day, nights, or solar eclipse. And if there's anything you want to say, as always, it can be good, bad, on topic, off topic, whatever the case, you have the ability to comment or speak to me directly, and I will try to listen. Again, I'm not like some super involved person with you in your life, but I want to be somebody that you can relate to and say, other people go through the same and they struggle with the same. So thank you. Have a good night.